Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Software Defined Space Conference. And we had the brilliant idea to go outside, and as soon as we step outside, of course it starts to rain. But
Yes.
I'm here with my friend Desire of EUSPA.
Indeed.
Now, you had a very interesting talk on stage just now about space and gaming. This is a cybersecurity and software defined satellite conference. What has gaming to do with what we're talking about here?
Well, I would say gaming has everything to do, but it will require a little bit of creativity to find connections. Typically, gaming industry is one of the fastest growing industry in the world. 2.5 billion players today, and it's growing. Definitely, the pandemic has helped. It's a 300 billion euros, dollars, market valuation by 2025. But beyond the numbers, if you think that we all have family, friends, maybe ourselves, who are spending quite some time in game environments, and what is lacking at the moment in gaming industry is critical sense of cybersecurity good practices. Gamings are actually using some level of space data, especially the hyper-realistic games. Those that are not just redesigning an arcade environment, but those that are trying to replicate the world as we see and feel it, using space data from Earth observation, Copernicus, or using real geolocation when you have digital assets that you want to locate in the real world. And what is lacking is this sense of cybersecurity and this opportunity as a market, where my whole goal of being here was to show what is possible and to invite partners to contribute to it.
Okay, now you mentioned two different things that relate to the topic of this event. First of all, cybersecurity in a virtual world.
Yes.
You mentioned that on stage as well. Can you explain?
All right, so I'll take maybe a bit of example to illustrate what is this about. Many years ago, there was something that is still working called the dark web, and we would actually keep out of it because it's dangerous, because it's dark, and because whatever reason. And therefore, what has happened was that criminal activities have flourished within this world. Now, the authorities, the intelligence services, have then decided to occupy that space, and a certain level of security is back there. This is the same kind of thinking, I believe, that should be applied in the gaming industry. The gaming is not just about playing. It can be many things. It can be simulation. It can be doing trading. You have now a new generation of games that are, especially in the Web3 ecosystem, called Web3 gaming, where you can buy actual assets. You can use money, not currencies that you use in the real world, but you can convert it. And when you have this kind of economy that is developed and developing without any checks and balances or any control, I think that my duty is to probe, to show the potential, and to kind of present to the cybersecurity community that gaming is not just about gaming, it's beyond that.
And that's another point that I'd like to make, because we talk about gaming as if these are the traditional video games, but we're also talking about serious applications based on gaming engines rather than the games that we buy in the shop.
Exactly. I will take another good example. I think it speaks more than just a long speech. NVIDIA, for example, for a big part of its life, has been actually a computer engine for gaming. It's been bought by gamers. That was the computer, the tool that was powering most of the strong games back in the days. Today, it has revamped itself as an AI compute engine, because anything that requires a lot of computation is then used for gaming and then used for AI. Therefore, I would invite us to think of gaming as not just a nice cartoon-looking environment where our kids or families are playing, but actually a space in 3D that is immersive, that can be persistent, meaning that when you turn on and off, it's not gonna be disappearing. And within this 3D world, you can be an avatar, a character, you can exchange, trade, you can learn And there are some practical application of it. Today, for example, for military training, what about training in a simulation environment and then going on the field? For flight pilots, how about training on an actual simulator? And even more than that, when you want to explore new places, travel to the Amazonian forest, but without paying the price of a ticket. These are the ways we can think of gaming.
Okay, and this goes beyond gaming. Now,
Yeah.
Facebook tried this with this thing called the metaverse, which is one of those virtual environments that, well, we tend not to talk about that, but more about 3D immersive environments, perhaps. But that idea still lives on, and that has many practical applications. Now, let's go to the other topic of this conference, which is space. What is the role of space in gaming?
Space, and particularly space data, can be the backbone of game environments. You can have a game that is built in arcade mode that will look like a cartoon, that'll be boxy. It leverages what is called voxels. But you can have realistic games environments that will be leveraging satellite images, maybe also satellite data from physics, like the air quality, the temperature. You might want, for example, to, if you play golf or basketball, to experience the feeling that it was on a sunny afternoon in September 2013. And you can actually feed the game engine with this data and have exactly the environments in the space that you want. And you therefore offer not just a game, but actually an experience. And the space data today, I think, is mature and sufficiently easy to process so that it could fit into this game engine. And I see an opportunity here because big companies are doing that. And I do not see enough of local players. That's why I think advocacy, de-risking, presenting what is possible is the reason of my presence.
Okay. Are we mainly talking about Earth observation data?
Earth observation data for the backbone of the game environments, but we're also talking about GNSS data. When you want, let's say, Pokemon Go, that most of us, I think, do remember, you actually used high precision geolocation for identifying where the Pokemons were so that you can find them and get the rewards.
This mixed reality game where you
Yes.
point your phone at, well, the street that we have here, but instead of seeing those people, we see these cartoon characters.
Yes, and then the businesses jumped on boards, and when you'll be finding the cartoons, maybe you get some coupon or some points or whatnot rewards that you can then exchange in the shop nearby. It was built using GPS system back then, and I would love to see the same level of innovation in a more modern version using Galileo GNSS today.
Of course. Okay, very cool. Where is this going in the next 5 to 10 years, in your opinion?
The computation engine is going to be even more powerful. NVIDIA is going to make sure of that. Therefore, you'll be able to process a lot more data faster. Maybe not at a cheaper price because, well, when you have monopolies, you decide of the price. But for the end user, it will result into even more immersive, hyper-realistic experiences. I hope that Copernicus data will be used ubiquitously into these games environments so that I could explore forests or the sea or countries within the game environment, like if I was actually there. The hardware also on the experience side, like the VR headset or the augmented reality devices, will also be much more efficient and removing some of the drawbacks like biological effects that it has today.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Now, you work for EUSPA, basically for the European Union government. What is the role of EUSPA in promoting, developing, facilitating this?
Well, I cannot speak in the name of EUSPA because I'm a consultant contractor, but I'm part of a very talented team of dedicated people within which we are actually supporting space tech and space-enabled startups, founders, to take their idea to prototype and commercial solution. We're doing it all across the 15 plus market segments / verticals that we are covering on the downstream segment market. That means whatever space data that is created in space the use cases that they'll find on Earth is what we are focusing on. And we're here to help building more, stronger, better space-enabled businesses that are innovative. I love disruption, so I'm also looking into the application of AI, blockchain, quantum in synergies with space data. And we are hoping that most of these founders will be satisfied by our services so that they decide to settle down in Europe and not being tempted to delocate or relocate their companies abroad.
Looking at the gaming industry, what are the centers of the gaming industry in Europe?
The Nordics, I believe, are the center. In particularly, Iceland and Finland are masters in making games, in particular platform games. Sweden is also pretty good in gaming, but I would say mostly on the betting games kind of things. You have other countries that are building capacity, but I think there is maybe a bit of a stigma or a little bit of a judgmental opinion we have toward gaming. And we're seriously undervaluing the potential that games can actually bring. Fast forward, you ask me about future development. If you combine AI also with games, you'll literally be creating replica of our societies with autonomous agents, so avatars that are moving autonomously. And with the good side of it, you also experience the negative side of it. And this kind of connects us back to the cybersecurity aspect.
So it all comes back together again.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the end of this. This is only just beginning. Gaming, you put gaming on the map, as far as I'm concerned, at least at this conference, as one of these application areas that you talked about that has a lot of potential. So thank you very much for introducing us. And I really hope to see more about gaming, maybe in the next edition of the Software Defined Space Conference. So thank you very much, Desire, for your introduction.
Thank you very much, Remco. Good seeing you again. Thanks.